Welcome to today's webinar with the title PCB Design and Simulation, How to Benefit from Our Expert Knowledge and State-of-the-Art Tools. I am Andreas Schilp, your host of today's Würth Elektronik Circuit Board Technology webinar, and I would like to welcome you. The speaker in today's webinar is Michael Mattes from our WEdesign service. Welcome, Michael. And now I wish you lots of fun and new information.
Yeah, thanks Andreas, and also good morning from my side. At first I want to present you the WEdesign team. That's Jan Bloksma. He's responsible for the business development, and I'm responsible for technology, for the interface to the to the layout team, and I'm specialist in layout and measurement for over 20 years. So why WEdesign? Why should you use our services? The idea is to give you as much time as you need for your competence, that you can concentrate on the main things, and we can help you with our services as layout, as simulations, and we see more on that later on. What we can do, we can begin with the layout works, with the design, beginning at the bill of materials and the netlist, and then we can redraw schematics until the finished design. If it's necessary, we can also do the production of the PCB, and afterwards also the population. To be as cost efficient as possible, we can use also our Indian teams. We have more than 30 colleagues over there in India, and so we can be very cost efficient. The possibility to implement BAFA relevant products is also given by our German teams in design services. There are also a lot of people which can support us here, and the goal is to implement our projects as efficient as possible, and that's also that can be also done because we have more than 50 years of experience in printed circuit boards, and so it's a very good combination for a developer, for a designer to talk directly to the colleagues over there. As I told before, we want to give you as much time for the important things, and so it's our goal to adapt your designs to requirements that come from you, and so we are using our own design rules that are necessary for optimum production of the PCBs. As I told also before, we can simulate different things to make your product much more robust and stable. More information also later, and we support, that's a new point, in project management. So if it's needed from your side that we also plan the communication with EMS and also the population, we can support at this point. So you can get everything from a single source from us. That's layout support, simulation, the production of the PCB at the end, and also the communication and coordination with the EMS to do the population. To summarize these points, we are very efficient. As we know the parameters like sizes of production, assembly panels, we can use it as cost efficient as possible. We can combine the panels for production and for assembling, and so we get the best yield. We use the versions of our tools that are required from the customer, but we have normally the current versions for all the tools. It's very efficient, the implementation of the required design rules, and so we can get the best results. So to have a close look to the service portfolio, we can support with library work, that's setup of pad stacks, setup of footprints and so on. We can also put lots of parameters from the components, that's up to 80 properties into a table to support you with that. And we do simple layouts up to very complex ones. You see some examples later on here in the presentation. We are also very good in the mechatronic design. So if you need an enclosure or an case for thermal things, and also for the housing for the PCBs, we can support you here. In the field of simulations, we do signal integrity, power integrity, and thermal simulations, also as impedance simulations, and afterwards the measurements of the coupons for the testing. And at the end, we export the needed data for production in Germany, or also for our Asian partners. As I told you, next point, new point, is the project management. If you need support here, we can also help you with that. So to the next slide, production optimized layout creation. When we are implementing projects, we are guided by the objectives agreed with the customer, and generally follow the DXF approaches to generate the optimum result for the customer. So that's, for example, the DFM, the design for manufacturing. That's a topic that you need to, or we need to take care about. The testability is also a point. Which kind of tests do you need after the population of the PCB? The design for cost is a point. You need to get a PCB that's as cheap as possible, so we need to take care on this. Design for assembly, and also design for reliability. That are topics we hear later on information, but to achieve the best result, we should also know who the manufacturer is, what's the facility, the equipment from the manufacturer is, and also what testing requirements and the equipment will be afterwards, after the implementation. So let's have a close look to the EDA tools we support at the moment. That's from Cadence, Allegro, and OrCAD. We have also the Alcium Designer. And from Siemens, we use PAD Standard Plus and Professional. That are the EDA tools. For analysis and simulations, we use Hyperlinks, Signal Integrity, Power Integrity, Thermal, ANSYS IcePack, SpeedStack Flex, SI 9000 Field Solver from Polar. And from Polar we have also the Atlas measurement system. That's an VNA which can measure S parameters up to 43.5 gigahertz. That's a very, very good equipment for high speed and high frequency applications. For the mechanical constructions, we use SolidWorks, and if you have questions on other tools to use, then we are open for that and can discuss if we can help you in that area. So there is a selection matrix where you can see which services we offer to you. That's the main part is layouting and simulation, as I told before, and the new part is the project management. So then you can get everything from a single source. We can do also the engineering services, selection of external partners for population of the PCBs, communication with the partners, and there are also From our sister companies, there are possibilities to do EMC tests, mechanical design, construction, high-speed measurement is possible in our lab, and also feasibility studies. A case study, for example, is a customer needs a complete assembled product. So what we do not support is the hardware development. That means we need a schematic and ready a schematic from the customer that the hardware development is already done. And then we are discussing which kind of design services we should take from the customer. We are discussing about engineering services, project management, schematic adaptation, layout design, simulation, the points I told you already before. And then we can support with the assembling, with the EMS, with tests, and also the end assembling of the PCBs. So at first we are going to discuss with our customer what should be done. What is the main thing we need to do? The search for the optimal design can have a variety of reasons, such as cost optimizations, quality, requirements of full utilization of technological possibilities. That are points that must be clarified. The thermal requirements when designing the layout are also illustrated. For example, if there are components which have different CTEs that could should match as good as possible. If also parasitic influences from the substrates or the material parameters are have a very big variety, and so we need to choose the best material for the needed application. For the modern electronics, there are different assembling technologies, and they differ significantly in terms of packaging density, and that has also a big influence on the type how we could do the testing. Is it a manual optical inspection? Is it automatical optical? Is it ICT, functional test, and so on? And that are all requirements that must be clarified, discussed with the customer. Maybe it's only a small redesign of an product that we redraw the layout. Do you need an SI and PI or thermal simulation also? What kind of data can you deliver that we can start our service? Do you have digital information? Do you have also hand sketch or only hand sketches and a bill of material, for example, that are different points that must be clarified? Also, which tool should we use? I showed you the overview of the EDA tools, and that must be also clear which tool we should use for the service we do for you. So here we have a close overview to a possible product creation process or product life cycle. So the naming is company dependent, and we can support you at each point. The optimum is to start at the beginning, that we discuss at the project start which are the requirements, and offer you different support, and also discuss with you, for example, which materials you should use or could use. But at the end, it's your decision where we should start. We can also optimize for serious production. We can redraw, or we can design functional samples, prototypes, pilot series. We can support you at every of these points you see here on that overview. So for getting the best overview what you need, we have different checklists, and we are going to discuss these checklists with you. We are filling these checklists to go together with you to get the best result. That can be, for example, information concerning regarding the solder technology. Is it vapor phase? Is it reflow? Is it wave soldering? And regarding this technology, we need to use and set up different footprints. What is the test strategy? Which assembly facilities do the EMS you choose or we choose have? Should we create test coupons? There are different parameters of that. What are the parameters of the production panel the EMS needs? All these points must be clarified before we start or during we do our work. So also high speed and RF requirements or other requirements could be used for doing our work. So what we can support you. For example, you have an old product that's, for example, 20, 30 years old, and you don't have digital information for producing the PCB or the whole assembled product. So what we can do, you give us a sample of that populated PCB, and we are tracing that design, redrawing the design. I don't know if it's the right expression. So if we have done that and we need to clarify all the requirements before we start the job with you, then we are also exporting the production documents and the data in a digital way. So we will support that also to you, deliver it to you, and so you can choose your own EMS, or we help you by choosing the EMS, and then you have digital information regarding that. Sometimes there are also components as microcontrollers or processors on the boards, and that must be programmed, and for that we need the software. We are not able to develop the software on our own for the customer needs. What could be a problem is if the old design has too much layers. Then we have problems to see what the schematic or the circuitry is, and we need also to use X-ray machines and such things. But as I told before, it's for simple designs, this design service, not for very complex ones. What we also can do, you can deliver us hand drawings, hand sketches that we start of this, and then we are going to redraw the schematic in the chosen tool from you, Altium, Cadence, or other tools. But we also need the bill of materials for this. We need to know which components are or should be mounted on the PCB. Okay, what could also be a possibility if you deliver an old, sometimes copied, redrawed document, we can also redraw it and have a digital version of that and deliver it at the end. The best situation is if you have a schematic already finished in Altium, Cadence, Siemens, and so on, and then we start from this. And in the modern tools, there's also possibility to implement directly the design rules that are needed. It could be voltage, spaces, and such things, and they can be implemented directly inside the schematic. Otherwise, we need to discuss it and also set up a table with all the needed requirements. So regarding the population of the PCB later on, you should know which solder technology is or will be used for that product. Is it the reflow? Is it vapor phase? Is it wave soldering, or maybe also hand soldering or repair by hand? And that could be also influencing the setup of the usage of the footprints on the design. To do an optimum placement of the components, we should get the coordinates for that from you. Otherwise, we are also able to use coordinates we get from housings, from enclosures we get in 3D models from you. That's also a possibility. But they should fit for example, the RJ45 connector should fit to the opening in the enclosure, and such things must be clarified directly with you. We can support you with all services for our own technologies, for the technologies we produce. That's, for example, bent flex, or also rigid flex boards, HDI boards, slim flex, polymer technology. For all these different technologies, we can support you with layout and also simulation services. So I told that we can help you with services from very simple to complex jobs. We can set up the footprints for you, as I told you before. We can do very simple designs which have only one layer, two layers, but we are also able to realize projects with very high speeds, with differential pairs and also length matched signals up to 20-30 gigabit per second. That's no problem for us. We have the tools, we can do the simulations for these. To have a look at the flowchart, we have several gateways, internal reviews, and also customer reviews, and we call them quality gates. And the red ones we are doing internally with our teams, and there are different points in the development where we need to discuss it with customers. So it's after the placement, for example, that the components are correctly placed, that there's no mistake inside that. After the routing, we have a review with the customer, and also before the Gerber data are generated, we will have a look at this and discuss it. In the area of simulation and verification, we can help you with eye diagrams. For example, here you see a very poor, a bad signal that could be a problem during the usage of the PCB of the product, and at the end you should have an eye diagram like this that is very good for signal transmission. To get the best results, we use, as I told before, different tools. For example, here you see the Polar SI 9000, and that's for simulating the stack up, the right impedance. We need to import also our etching angles and all the information. Also after lamination, we have a tolerance, and that must be entered as good as we know it. And then we will get the best result for your product afterwards. For example, here we see an USB C filter board, which works up to 10 gigabits per second and has also a power supply for 100 watts. And there we did the required simulations and could export all the needed S parameters for this product to do the simulations and the rest of the design optimizations. I told also that we have a very good equipment in our lab, and here we can do the measurement on special coupons. That's a very new equipment for the laboratory, where we can measure up to 43.5 gigahertz, and for this we need special coupons to do the de-embedding and get the best results, or also see if there are tolerances in the material parameters regarding the datasheet parameters. Have a look at the thermal simulation. Here we can simulate a whole product and do also the optimizations regarding the sinks, the housing, openings in the housing to get the best results for you. And here that's a topic regarding the mechatronic design. We can design the housing, the enclosure, to get, for example, the best heat flow via the lamels.